Tonight on News 5 Live, Assistant Superintendent Fernando Neal dies in northern Belize. Arrests made in the murder of former head of border management. And UDP Chairman Michael Perifeed says John Saldivar is not eligible to run for party leader. These stories plus the explanation for the mystery of the sleeping giant up next on News 5 Live.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime. While with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Technology is ubiquitous and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Full-Tech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Since its launch, over 900 students have successfully completed the Social Security Scholarship Program.
I am Fatima Che, co-founder of Eltridges and Associates and owner of Fatima Arche Group of Consultancy Services. In 2009, I graduated from the University of Belize with a bachelor's degree in accounting. And I'm very grateful that Social Security had given me the opportunity by offering me a scholarship to pursue my career.
I am Renata Samuels. I am the Yearport Coordinator for the Department of Youth Services. I received the Social Security Scholarship for high school in 2010. Upon receiving it, I was beyond happy, thankful, and super relieved to know that I relieved my mom from the financial constraint of having to pay for my high school. It actually pushed me to work even harder to know that I am deserving of this scholarship. I implore others, apply for this scholarship. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, as well as being one step closer to your own dreams.
The Social Security Board is committed to providing educational opportunities to persons on a mission to improve their lives and communities.
It's a hammer, it's a drill, it's Super Handy Dads. That's right, folks, it's Super Handy Dads month again at Brothers Event. And do we have some super gifts for that super special dad? A Super Handy Dad needs his super tools. And all month long, we're giving you super savings of 15% off all power tools and accessories from Stanley, Black & Decker, DeWalt, Skill, Bosch, and 15% off Santool hand tools and hardware. So come in today to Brothers Abet on Barrack Road for Super Handy Dads Month and pick up those super tools at super savings.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Monday, June 21st. I'm Sabrina Daly. A much-loved member of the Belize Police Department died over the weekend, leaving friends, family, and the force to mourn the death of another senior officer. News 5's Dwayne Moody was in Corozal today to find out more about Assistant Superintendent Fernando Neal. the status of the other victim, and the men who reportedly fled the scene of the accident.
Around 9 p.m. on Saturday, a fatal road traffic accident in the north claimed the life of a senior police officer and left another hospitalized with varying degrees of injuries to the face and body.
Somewhere around miles 76 and 77, they collided into a pickup truck driven at the time by an unknown person to the police, but we know that the occupants of that pickup were two persons, two males. Those persons made good their escape from the scene.
He was invited to accompany one of his co-workers. As a noble person, he did that. 6 minutes after our family was called that he was in an accident, in a terrible accident. In arriving, my family saw that he was trapped inside the vehicle, which is one of the worst traumatic events that we have witnessed. Yes.
Assistant Superintendent Fernando Neal was traveling in the front passenger seat with Constable Didier Clavel behind the steering wheel. They were heading to Belize City, where they are both stationed at Precinct 1 on King Street. But just before reaching the entrance to Concepcion Village on the Philip Golson Highway, a pickup truck crashed into them.
He still had pulse when he was retrieved. When I think my sister and my nephew arrived, he reacted. He started to breathe a little more, and eventually that's the reason he was taken back by the ambulance. But passing our village, San Joaquin, he passed away.
ASP Neal had been working with the department for 25 years and is a father of a son he shares with his wife of over 2 decades. Fortunately for PC Clavel, he survived the ordeal and is expected to recover. He has been with the department for more than 2 years.
He was in cutting his chin. He cut his chin and damaged his eyelid, dental part on his body, and he have only cutting his elbow. Well, I know exactly cut right now. How you call it? Like a fracture. His elbow, and well, apart from that, it's only the sources are all around his body, and yeah. But the most hard is the one where so from the chin, right? And
what are the doctors saying? Is his condition critical? Is he going to be okay?
He is going to be okay. He just needs to go and then surgery.
The driver of the pickup truck, who has since been identified as either Radiel Sanchez of San Roman Village, and another man fled the scene after the accident occurred. But Sanchez's passenger showed up at the Northern Regional Hospital for treatment of injuries he sustained. That's when the police were notified.
If you were involved in an accident, if you could render assistance, you might be able to save that person's life. No? So the moment you fled the scene of an accident, you lessen the chances of that person getting immediate attention that could be life-changing. No?
We are standing unofficially, because we don't have that official report. The person was intoxicated, and hard-working persons like him, I think the law is very, very lenient. In other countries, the law, you go to jail, or either you pay here in Belize just a fine. And I think that has to change. My brother died serving this country. And it's so painful to say that a person that is not drinking, a person that came drinking, will take his life.
Neal is remembered by his brother-in-law and friends. Armando Aban says that even though he was sick from taking his COVID-19 vaccine 2 days earlier, Neal was still heading to work on that tragic day.
He worked in Corozal, in Ladyville, Hattieville, Independence, Blue Creek, Belize City, Orange Walk. The amounts of messages and the amount of texts and calls that we are receiving, police officers arriving countrywide, giving respect to my sister, giving us the wonderful story. He was a leader. To my understanding, he would never, he was not a person who will rail up at the person. His staff, they treated him to the best.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
A funeral with full honors will be held for ASP Neal on Wednesday in San Joaquin Village, Corozal. Over the weekend, a pair of teenagers was handed over to local authorities by their counterparts in Guatemala. The youths, 17 and 18 years old, respectively, are being held in connection with 2 murders. As we reported on March 2nd, Gonzalo Rosado was shot and killed inside his vehicle, which was parked in front of his residence on the George Price Highway in San Jose, Socots. He had reportedly taken a quick trip to Benqueviejo to pick up a young woman. The 54-year-old former border manager was seated in the driver's side of the pickup when he was fatally injured by gunfire. In that case, it was reported that investigators were looking for several persons, including the young woman he had gone to pick up. Fast forward to May 28th, when Wayne Cadle was also shot and killed, and the company vehicle he was driving was stolen. That incident happened in Benqueviejo. As it turns out, 2 suspects, including 18-year-old Sergio Pineda, have been apprehended by Guatemalan police and repatriated to Belize to face charges for those crimes. This morning, Assistant Superintendent Fitzroy Yearwood provided additional details.
We have actually in that incident, we have 2 arrests. 18-year-old Sergio Pineda, who was detained by our counterparts in neighboring Guatemala, was charged for conspiracy to commit murder for Sergio Rosado along with this 17-year-old female minor. They were also charged for conspiracy to commit murder for in connection with the death of Mr. Wayne Cadle that occurred earlier this month, also in the Benqueviejo Police Judiciary area. Well, we know that investigators have reached a juncture, and after consultation with the DPP's office, they believe that they have enough evidence to charge both these persons in connection with both these murders. So now it's only a waiting game for us to know who the main suspect is, and hopefully it will be not too far from now. As you know, in our border towns, most of our foreign counterparts work closely with our local police, and as soon as he was picked up in Guatemala, they made the necessary contacts with Belize Police Department, and he was handed over sometime over the weekend, and he was charged for these 2 conspiracy to commit murder.
A Belize City resident is recovering from a gunshot injury following an attempt on his life on Friday night. Mark Burgess was walking along Iguana Street around 10:30 p.m. when upon reaching its intersection with Seagull Street, someone opened fire. The Lakeview Street resident was injured in the shooting and was transported to the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital, where he remains in stable condition.
Mr. Burgess reported to police that he was walking on Iguana Street when he was approached from behind. He's saying that he didn't actually see the shooter, and he heard shots fired and felt that he was hit. No, he was transported to the KHMH. He's in a stable condition, and our investigators are continuing as we speak to try to establish who was the perpetrator of that one, and as soon as we know, you will know.
Sir, has this gentleman been targeted before in any sort of violent incidents like this?
Well, not to my knowledge. Maybe or maybe not, but I cannot say that I know of any incidents where he was targeted.
Police were able to recover a pair of expended shells from the scene of the shooting. In southern Belize, a Guatemalan laborer lost his life on Sunday evening during a hit-and-run near Maya King. Police responded to the location shortly after 5 p.m., where they, according to police, Rosa Martinez was driving a single-cab Toyota pickup along that stretch of the road when Diaz reportedly swerved into her lane. She reportedly attempted to swerve to avoid hitting him, but was unsuccessful. Diaz perished at the scene of the incident. Martinez did not stop to render assistance to the victim, and her damaged vehicle was subsequently located in Silk Grass Village.
About 5:40 yesterday evening, police visited an area on the Southern Highway in the vicinity of Maya King, around mile 21 or 22, where they saw a 58-year-old Mario Diaz suffering from head and body injuries. His bicycle was not too far from him. Our initial investigation revealed that he was hit by a black pickup. We did intensive search in the area where the vehicle was located in Silkgrass Village. A female was detained for that accident, and the pickup had damages that would be consistent in a road traffic accident.
Coming up, a mystery solved. The results of the team's expedition up the sleeping giant when we return. The findings may surprise you.
For a premium lubricant when you're on the go, or a premium brake fluid when you need to stop, choose the brand that's built for champions. Come to Premium Lubricants, distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited, 2 miles Philip Goldson Highway, Belize City. WhatsApp us at 606-4154.
Hey guys, I'm Brighton Cod, and I want to tell you about an app that's going to change the insurance game. Imagine insurance made easy. That's exactly what Home Protector Insurance has done with the new HPI app. Instant claims, fast transactions, and real-time updates are just a few of the ways this insurance app is going to change your life. Whether it's for your car, your house, your life, or any of the other services provided, HPI app has got you covered. With a user-friendly interface, only with Home Protector can you get all your insurance needs in the palm of your hands. But don't take my word for it. Download the app, give it a try. Let me know what you think. And if you're not insured with Home Protector, then we've got to have a serious talk.
Get ready! Universal Hardware in Belize City is having a mega sale week from Tuesday, June 22nd to Saturday, June 26th, with week-long deep discounts on Leafan and Malon motorcycles, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Makita power tools, Toolcraft hand tools, Sankey AC units, and much more. The grand raffle with great prizes will be streamed on Facebook Live on Saturday at 1 p.m. Universal, the preferred solutions provider.
Times have been challenging. Some days we feel vulnerable, scared, alone. The uncertainty of the future for our families lingers in our minds. But times like these brings out the best in all of us, revealing our resilience and strength, and bringing us together as a people, as a nation. Through partnership with the National Bank and Government of Belize, Digi developed its mobile pay solution, a safe, reliable, and convenient way for approved applicants of the Belize COVID-19 cash transfer program to collect their approved funds at any Digi store or National Bank of Belize location countrywide. Digi wants all Belizeans to know that you are not alone. We remain committed to delivering on the promise of advanced technology and innovative solutions that benefit Belizeans, instilling the hope of a brighter and better future amidst these challenging times. We are here for you.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include Cath Lab, Adult Intensive Care Unit, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
St. John's Credit Union.
Have you ever fallen delinquent on your loan payment? Don't know how to get back on track? Bounce back with St. John's Credit Union. Get 10 to 50% off interest and fee when you pay your arrears in full or make suitable payment arrangements on your account. Members who take advantage of this offer get a chance to enter a raffle to win fabulous prizes. Members are advised that this offer ends September 30th. Some conditions apply.
St. John's Credit Union Limited. Safe saving, smart borrowing.
Corruption is a disease that has devastated our country for over 40 years. How do we know this? When the government of a country displays any of the following symptoms, that's when we know that corruption is the diagnosis. Those in power favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs. Those in power appointing friends and associates to positions of authority without proper qualifications. After being elected, they go from servant leaders to public gods. Why do we need the minister's approval to get land or a job in the public service? Why is it that the minister can give tax exemption to those who they want? Ever wondered, why do we have a debt of over $4 billion and barely have anything in our country to show for it? Why is it that only some people get help from their era representative? Why is there less grocery bag distribution and financial relief to those who really need it? Nepotism, cronyism, abuse of ministerial power, misuse of public funds are all symptoms of corruption. Corruption is bad for the country and our economy. Now you tell us, is GOB suffering from a bad case of corruption? Let's cure this disease. Good governance is our only hope. Remember, teachers were always got to know back. True solidarity for Belize, BNTU.
For almost 2 weeks, Belizeans at home and abroad have been speculating that there might be volcanic or geothermal activity in the Maya Mountains at an area known as the Sleeping Giant, where smoke has been seen billowing in the distance. Well, today we got confirmation that it was nothing mysterious or, as some had begun to believe, supernatural. But its cause does date all the way back to June 8th. News 5's Dwayne Moody has the latest update.
We can confirm that the fire was actually started from a lightning strike. If you recall, in June 8th or thereabouts, there were a number of thunderstorms throughout the country, but also in the higher elevation areas where the site is located, which is about 1,200 feet above sea level. It seems that strike basically triggered the debris to actually smolder.
Over the weekend, a team of 12 personnel from the Geology and the Petroleum Department and the Forest Department, joined by residents from the area, took the daunting trek to the site, crossing the Saboon River and taking the 500 feet elevation of the mountain range. Several tests were carried out, confirming that there was no volcanic activity.
The Geology and Petroleum Department did all the tests that it needed to do. One, in terms of testing for hydrogen sulfide, looking for radiation, and as well looking at the ground floor for any volcanic activity, looking for any molten rocks or lava, as we would call it. And I can confirm that those three basically came out negative. So there was no radioactive signs or signs for radioactivity, no signs of any molten rocks or lava, and no signs for hydrogen sulfide. What we did find was that the area was burning, it was smoldering. The debris, the organic matter, was about 2 feet thick in some areas, and the evidence that we saw was consistent with a lightning strike. We noticed that the organic matter continues to smolder. We also noticed some flames on the periphery of the area. We also got reports yesterday evening that the people that live in the surrounding area did see some signs of fire on the perimeter of the area that was smoking. So this is consistent with the fire, of course, and we fear that it might be starting to spread more given the weather conditions.
There is concern about the destruction of the forest ecosystem because the fire is spreading uphill. Outside of the smoldering detritus, fire could be seen at some points of the 1 acre plot that is affected. Chief Forest Officer Wilbur Sabida says that for now, they will allow nature to take its course during the next few days. If the situation worsens, however, other steps will be taken.
As you mentioned correctly, Dwayne, the fragility of the ecosystem is important to us, given that this is a forest ecosystem at the upper elevation. If left unattended, the fire will obviously burn everything in its path, and when the rain comes, we may have some erosion taking place, and we did witness erosion taking place in some areas that had already been burnt because of the rain that had passed through over the last week and a half. So as we move forward, one, we need to continue monitoring the situation. Secondly, if we see that the fire intensifies in terms of higher flames, and of course in terms of the rate of spread, because we already know definitively what is the area that we measured when we last went up there, then we will need to go into plan A, which is going out there and trying to put out the fire mechanically with our own manpower. Or secondly, if that is something that is too high risk, then we'll need to consider the other option, which is the use of helicopters to douse the area that is burning with water.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Today, the United Nations Development Program donated a trove of information and communication technology equipment to the Belize's judiciary to improve the access to justice by addressing the challenges leading to inadequate data and the backlog in cases. The donation, valued at $120,000, was made possible through the Spotlight Initiative, which is a global program funded by the European Union to tackle violence against women and girls in a number of ways. News 5 was invited to the handing over today.
The new wiring for the network will allow for more than 1,000 megabytes of data to be shared instead of the currently existing 100 megabytes. This will allow for simultaneous recording in multiple courts, as well as virtual courtrooms across the country, and quick digitization of case files. Secondly, the network's backbone has been updated from a copper base to a fiber optic option, and this will allow for growth and will meet the increased demand for online services. Thirdly, this new equipment, such as the televisions provided, will allow for complainants and witnesses to be present in court virtually. And this feature is especially desirable in cases where witnesses may be fearful of being in court physically, and where children may be terrified of being in close physical proximity with accused persons. This equipment will also be used to present digital evidence in criminal matters brought by the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, which is prepared for court by the forensic unit of the police department. Fourthly, wireless devices such as wireless access points and laptops will be updated and replaced and made available for use at the courts. This will aid citizens who are lacking the requisite technology to access the services of the courts. Fifthly, the current courtroom at the Belize Central Prison will be updated with wireless access points and laptops to connect remotely to the court. And this will reduce the need to have prisoners being physically transported to and from the prison for preliminary court hearings. 6, new desktops will replace the outdated equipment for the General Registry and the Case Management Unit, which will then be able to work seamlessly with scanners, network printers, and the new web-based software. And 7thly, the enhancement of the case management software and database will ensure that magistrates will have immediate access to digital case files. Our Supreme Court IT experts point out that the current network is over 10 years old and in a state of great disrepair. This project is therefore an extremely timely and beneficial one.
After the break, News 5 talks with the chairman of the United Democratic Party. Find out what he has to say about the Patrick Faber recall effort, the former party leader Dean Barrow, and whether or not John Zaldivar could take over. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
This COVID update is brought to you by Belize Medical Associates. This COVID update was brought to you by Belize Medical Associates.
Development and Housing is creating a registry for contractors with varying disciplines, qualifications, capacities, and skills. This will centralize all registered contractors in efforts of creating equal employment opportunity across the public and private sector, as well as will give confidence for owners in quality of listed contractors. Contractors will be categorized by the following disciplines. 1. General building. 2. Civil works road construction. 3. Bridge construction. 4. Land development. 5. Tradesperson. And 6. Specialist contractor. Applications can be gotten free of charge from the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing for the next 90 days or via email from the Project Execution Unit. Initial applications to the registry will be processed up to the 27th of August 2021. For more information, you can email ceo.secretary@mow.gov.bz or peu@midh.gov.bz. Register today and do your part to build Belize.
As an RFNG agent, it gives me great pleasure to work with a tremendous company. Whenever we need any help, we can count on them to help us. When you sign up with RFNG, it is more than an insurance. It is family. A family that is reliable, that is dependable, that is safe. I am your neighbor. I am your friend. I am your RFNG agent.
Find your nearest RFNG agent on our website at rfginsuranceBelize.com, where it pays to get it right.
My name is Star, and I'm a Belizean trans man.
Star is a very fun person, very outgoing, a very friendly person, and quite a charming individual, to just spend some time with.
Dalila is a friend of mine. She's one of my only friends that have been very supportive.
I have so much admiration for Star because I was never aware of the kind of discrimination that Star faces for just being who he is and being true to himself.
It's important to have allies that will respect me no matter what.
For me, being trans, being gay, being lesbian, doesn't matter to me, it doesn't.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
How is electricity sourced, transmitted, and distributed? We'll explain how we get power to you safely for your everyday use. BEL purchases most of the power you use from independent power producers in Belize and Mexico. The energy we provide to customers comes from a mix of renewable and non-renewable sources such as hydro, biomass, fossil fuel, solar, and a combination of sources from CFE. More than half of the energy produced in Belize is from renewable sources, making Belize #1 in the Caribbean and #2 in all of North and Central America. So how does this power get to your home? High voltage electricity moves for long distances from where it is generated along transmission lines that deliver to substations countrywide where the voltage is reduced. The lower voltage electricity is then transported by power lines to transformers on your neighborhood utility poles. The transformer further reduces the voltage so that electricity can make its way into your homes through your meters. How are electricity rates determined? The Public Utilities Commission, PUC, sets electricity rates on a cost recovery basis. BEL projects the amount of electricity customers will need and the cost of buying and distributing it. Together, BEL and PUC use these projections to do a full tariff review every 4 years and annual reviews. The public is informed of these proceedings, so they have a say. The rates approved by PUC reflects the total cost of BEL to serve customers divided by the entire amount of electricity used by customers. If projections are too high and result in overcollection, rates are reduced going forward. When projections are too low and result in undercollection, rates are increased in future tariff review periods to recover losses. If we buy power from producers that cost less, we can charge less. This is why we are focused on securing new, cheaper sources of energy like solar power. What other solutions do we plan to introduce soon? AMI or smart meters. These provide real-time information on consumption and empowers customers to manage their bills. Solar energy. We are looking forward to adding solar generation to our mix and offer rooftop solar PV to reduce costs and improve reliability. Electric ground transportation. We aim to convert 50% of ground transportation in Belize to electric. By learning how to read your meter, you will better understand how you consume energy and how your monthly bill is determined. Manage your energy use by conserving wherever possible. We continue to serve our customers by keeping you updated and making it easy to reach us anytime from anywhere, whether it's getting information about our programs, connecting new service, providing options to pay your electricity bill, or reporting a hazard. We are always here for you.
The recall petition seeking to oust United Democratic Party leader Patrick Faber is under review. Today, Chairman of the UDP, Michael Perifit, hosted a Zoom briefing to talk about the process, which includes verifying the signatures and then setting a time and place to do the recall vote. He notes that while there is no timeline set for the recall vote to take place, he intends to do so very soon. If Faber is recalled, the National Convention must take place within 3 months from that date.
No, well, we have a petition on our desk, a recall petition. So I've looked at it, and I've called a central executive meeting for this Thursday, and we will meet and we will discuss the way forward, because my goal is to get it over with quickly. Go to a convention and have a vote. Either they will vote the delegates to keep the Honorable Patrick Faber as the leader, or they will recall him. But my thinking is to just get on with it, get it done as quickly as possible, give both sides a chance to get ready. 2/3 is why some may say it's a high threshold. I think it's a fair threshold. If you want to remove someone, then you have to come overwhelmingly in favor of removing the leader. And all we're saying is that these are the delegates, these are the people eligible to vote. If a certain amount of people come to vote and 2/3 of them say he should be removed, then he's removed. If that threshold is not met, then Mr. Faber remains. And it's not just 2/3 of the 580, it's 2/3 of those who show up to vote. Because the UDP constitution is clear. It is 2/3 of those present on the given day that the choice is made. So if only 5 people show up that day and 3 vote to recall, then he's recalled. If not 3 vote, if less than 3 show up for him to be recalled, then he's not recalled. So it is as simple as that.
Is there an option to perhaps meet with the group that expressed no confidence in Faber to have some sort of mediation process before taking it all the way to the National Party Council, or does the party not allow for that kind of intervention?
No, I would believe that that type of situation is always good and healthy. I would have hoped that that would have occurred before. There's nothing that prevents it from occurring now, but having filed the petition with the party, as the chairman of the party, I have to respect the filing of that petition. Like I said, I don't want to get involved between the two sides. I mean, if they choose to come together and Mr. Herrera were to approach the secretariat and say, we withdraw the petition because we've come to some arrangement or whatever, then I will gladly accept that as well. But I cannot tell them that they must sit down with the leader, nor can I tell the leader that he must sit down with them to work anything out. If they come to that on their own, then that would be beautiful. And then we wouldn't have to go through that. But what I have in front of me is a petition, and I have to proceed with that petition.
So if leader of the UDP, Patrick Faber, is recalled and removed, who will succeed him? That is going to be left up to a national convention if more than one person offers him or herself for the position. If that happens, those persons come from a very small pool of 8 people. In the meantime, however, should Faber be recalled, Deputy Party Leader Hugo Pat will assume the post as interim leader until a convention is called. While there has been speculation about the powers within the UDP, namely pointing to John Saldivar, who is one of the leaders of the Caucus for Change that has triggered this recall process against Faber, today Chairman Parafit shut down those speculations as he made it clear that a Saldivar leadership would be unconstitutional, as his current position hasn't changed.
I've had no conversation with the Honorable John Saldivar concerning this matter. And in terms of him being leader, technically speaking, it's only in the UDP, only 8 people can be the leader of the UDP. Our constitution is clear. The United Democratic Party can only be led by a person in the National Assembly, which consists of the 5 persons of the members of the House and the 3 members in the Senate. Those are the only 8 people that can lead the UDP. So if you look at Mr. Saldivar's position, he's not in the National Assembly. So at this time, even if he is the person leading his charge, and I have no evidence to think before me that he is the one doing it, I can assure you that he definitely knows, because he definitely knows the Constitution well, that if Mr. Faber were to be removed at a recall convention, he cannot be the leader unless he becomes a senator or something after that.
Do you have any interest in being the leader? You're a senator, which makes you...
Makes me eligible, but I have an interest in rebuilding the party, Renee. I think the party needs a lot of rebuilding right now. And I think as chairman, I'm in a good position to deal with all these constituency organizations and committees, and that's where my energies lie.
We asked the chairman if anyone has indicated interest in leading the party, but he says that he hasn't received any indication of this from any of the 7 members of the National Assembly. Chairman Michael Perifete was also asked whether former Prime Minister Dean Barrow still wields any power in the United Democratic Party, and whether or not he has weighed in on the current leadership issues.
I can assure you that he does not. As I said before in a previous interview, the Right Honorable Dean Barrow we hold in the highest of esteem. However, he is retired and gone. This is our UDP now, and whatever we're going through is what we have to deal with on our own. I can tell you, for example, I have not spoken to him. I've not had a word with him concerning this process, because he knows and I know that he has no business in this. This is for us now to solve on our own. He definitely was a formidable figure within the UDP. And when a person like that leaves, you will have these kinds of things where for a while, you struggle to get your feet, so to speak. But I can assure you that we are the ones solving it and trying to come to a solution on our own without those influences. They have retired, and they've all said, including himself, Mr. Finnegan, all the veterans of the party, they've always said, we're here. We're here for advice, we're here for guidance if you ask for it, but they won't interfere in this process, or I won't allow them to.
And what does the chairman think of this so-called leadership crisis the UDP is facing? He told us that he never expected they would be going through this, but it is all part and parcel of the democratic process.
It is unusual. As I said before, it's never a good thing. It's not a pleasurable thing to go through, but it's provided for in the Constitution, and I disagree that this weakens the party, so to speak. I think sometimes these things can be good. If you have issues with people or you want to put things to the test, put it to the test. But I can assure you, leadership, the recall conference, Mr. Farber is victorious at that leadership recall, then everybody, including those who led the petition drive, will have to respect the fact that the delegates want to keep Mr. Farber as their leader. And they will also have to continue to respect the fact that Mr. Farber is the leader. Mr. Farber, as a leader, would then be encouraged to reach out to those very same persons who tried to recall him. We will have to move on. Come what way, we will have to move on, because the organization is much bigger than any one of us, than a group of us. We have to get it behind us at some point. We have to deal with it at some point. But we're still very early before our next general election. We're still very early in the rebuilding process, and I am not as concerned with it as most people are, because then I think that from within, this is what happens when you're rebuilding a business, when you're rebuilding family ties. You go through these difficulties.
Shine Barrow for leader of the United Democratic Party? It appears Moses Shine Barrow is making moves to position himself as the front runner for the position, should Patrick Faber be recalled. This evening, we received a copy of the letter that Barrow sent to Governor General Forla Salam. The self-described chief whip says that he has the support of the majority of the opposition members of the House of Representatives. In his letter, Barrow says, quote, "We hereby notify the Governor General that Opposition Chief Whip Honorable Moses Shine Barrow enjoys the confidence of the majority of the opposition members of the House of Representatives in accordance with Section 47(2). Whenever there is occasion for the appointment of a leader of the opposition, the Governor General shall appoint the member of the House of Representatives who appears to him most likely to command the support of a majority of the members of the House who do not support the government." Unquote. The letter was signed by Barrow himself, along with House members Hugo Pat and Denise Barrow. It should be noted this letter was not sent via the UDP Secretariat and is not part of the recall vote. Just ahead, thousands of Belizeans harvest conch, but they have to sit out catching this seafood for a while. The stats from the Fisheries Department when we return.
Rain or shine, any weather. When we go ball, we go burger. Quality paint, no faded colors. When we go ball, we go burger. Let your imagination run free. Any color for this place, when we say ball, that mean it don't peel. Quality in every color, lifetime guarantee. When we go ball, we go burger. When we go ball, we go burger. Rain or shine, any color you need. When we go ball, we go burger.
What is climate change? Climate change, or global warming, as defined by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, is said to be the process of our planet heating up. The Earth has warmed by an average of 1 degree Celsius in the last century, and although that might not sound like much, it means big things for humans and wildlife around the globe. Rising temperatures is making our weather more extreme and unpredictable. Some impacts of climate change in Belize are flooding, drought, unstable weather patterns, and changes in seasons that affect agriculture, human, and wildlife activities. What is REDD+? REDD+ is a mitigation activity to reduce carbon emissions and increase carbon stock in the forest sector. The name REDD+ stands for Reducing Emission from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, plus Conservation, Sustainable Management of Forest and Carbon Stock Enhancement. How can REDD+ be a solution? Trees breathe the greenhouse gases we produce. We can start caring more for our forests by planting more trees and keeping our landscapes intact. Our forests are part of the solution. Also, by encouraging the adoption of sustainable forest management in Belize, we can help restore forests that have been lost.
Forests are linked to all aspects of human well-being. Think about the clean air that forests provide, that oxygen that we breathe. If it wasn't so clean, especially during that fire season, we would actually be facing a lot of problems. So breathing clean air is something that we may take for granted, but it's actually something that forest provides and that contributes to our health and happiness. One of the advantages of doing things associated with REDD+ in Belize is that it actually is a great mechanism for us to be able to maintain forests while at the same time sustainably using them and keeping all the services and goods that the forest provides to us intact, for example, water. At night, it's the trees and the plants in the forest that actually release that water that goes up in the atmosphere and eventually comes back as rain. If we don't have forests, that water is gone. If we think about our food security and the food that we eat, the agriculture industry and how important it is for Belize, we don't necessarily associate it sometimes with actual forests. But it's those forests that actually feed the soil organisms that cycle the nutrients and make our soils fertile. It's those forests that are a house and home for pollinators that pollinate our crops. And it's those forests that maintain the water that our agricultural areas need to thrive. Otherwise, we would be subject to things like droughts.
There is hope with REDD+.
Continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life. Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that SMART went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to SMART, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
SMART continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your SMART broadband with SMART mobile services. SMART, bringing people together.
The price of regular gasoline and diesel will increase at midnight tonight. The price of regular fuel will increase by 8 cents from $10.95 to $11.03 per gallon. Diesel will also see an increase of 8 cents from $10.51 to $10.59 per gallon. The price for premium gasoline and kerosene will remain unchanged at $11.67 and $7.41 per gallon, respectively. A press office release noted that the price changes reflect the current demand and supply conditions of crude oil in the international petroleum market and fluctuations in the acquisition price of refined fuel products in the countries from which Belize obtains its supplies. The Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital has received some much-needed equipment from COVID-19 patients. The Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, and the Government of Canada donated 6 high-flow nasal cannula systems and 2 advanced patient monitors with carbon dioxide and invasive blood pressure monitoring. The gift included the needed accessories. A release from PAHO says, quote, "Part of case management is the close monitoring of the patient's oxygen levels, so the oxygen therapy is immediately initiated among those suffering from hypoxemia and low blood oxygen levels," unquote. According to Dr. Noreen Jack, PAHO and WHO's representative in Belize, the machines have been reported to be effective in improving oxygenation and avoiding intubation compared to other conventional oxygen devices. World Refugee Day was celebrated in the Valley of Peace on Sunday with the unveiling of a mural. It was designed to celebrate the founding of Valley of Peace in 1982 as the first refugee hosting community in Belize. According to a release from the United Nations Refugee Agency, this area is currently a safe haven to some 10% of the country's total number of refugees and asylum seekers who have been arriving since 2010. Belize hosts some 2,400 registered asylum seekers and an estimated 3,400 more unregistered ones. Established for and built by refugees, Valley of Peace, a name chosen to highlight a community of persons having found peace after having been forced to flee from the civil war in El Salvador, became an official village and has contributed to life in Belize, especially in the field of agriculture, but also in professions as doctors, nurses, teachers, and public officers. This mural is the first of a series of community empowerment initiatives in the Cayo district, coordinated by the group of United Refugee Women celebrating refugee hosting communities and promoting peaceful coexistence between refugees and Belizeans. While Refugee Day is celebrated each year on June 20th, this year's theme is Together We Heal, Learn, and Shine. Conch season officially closed last week on June 18th and will remain closed for the next 3 months. Mario Gongora, fisheries officer at the Belize Fisheries Department, says the national quota for harvesting of 950,000 pounds of conch was realized early this year. He also gave us a rundown of the number of Belizeans whose livelihoods benefit from this seafood and a reminder about the fines you could face from having out of seasoned conch in your possession.
What it means really is that Belize is a country that is in compliance with our international commitment to manage the queen conch fishery in a sustainable manner. and we appreciate the effort and the contribution and the work of the fishermen cooperatives, the organizations that represent the fishers and the fishers themselves.
While the public may miss having their favorite conch dishes like ceviche or fritters, the close season is crucial for sustaining the industry and the fishers who depend on queen conch.
You will know that at the opening of the season, a lot of the conch that is landed, that is delivered at the fishermen coves, are large conch. And the reason for that is because during this 3-month period, it allows for good growth and development of the conch. The number of fishers that are dependent directly on conch fishing is something around 2,700 fishers. And these are full-time fishers. These are not just part-time, these are full-time fishers. So when you look at the overall picture, it's roughly around 15,000 Belizeans, the fishers plus their families, that depend directly on conch fishing. So when you look, for example, at 950,000 pounds, and you multiply that by $10 US a pound, you're probably getting $9.5 million that's generated from the conch fishery.
Overfishing the queen conch has actually caused countries like Mexico to keep its conch fishing season closed for an astonishing 7 years. Jamaica conch fishing season has been closed for the past 18 months. To avoid an extended closed season in Belize, all Belizeans are being advised to comply with the fisheries regulations. Fines are hefty.
In terms of the individual fees or fines, there could be a fine, in addition to the penalty for illegal fishing, there could be a fine of anything between $20 to $30 Belize per individual conch meat. So if you are found with 100 conch, that could really represent a $2,000 fine, just for argument's sake. You know, so it's substantial, and by and large, fishers comply with the fisheries regulations, but you know, 1 or 2 fishers will attempt to do illegal fishing. We want to ensure that fishers are aware, and the general public is aware that we will do everything we can to ensure the sustainability of the conch fishery.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Just ahead, Minister Karim Musa gets candid about importing marijuana. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
In exercise of the power conferred upon it by Section 7 of the Electricity Act, Chapter 221 of the Laws of Belize, and with the approval of the Minister, the Public Utilities Commission PUC, the Commission hereby notifies the general public that it intends to enact a bylaw in relation to electricity procurement and power purchase. The bylaw shall govern the procurement processes for wholesale, distributed energy resources and short-term power purchases by addressing the roles of the Commission and the utilities. The bylaw seeks to secure public welfare, national security, and services at the best value for money. Further clarify the exercise by the Commission of its duties under the Public Utilities Commission Act and Electricity Act. Provide for increased conservation and efficiency of electricity resources by utilities and equitable retail rates for consumers, and detail the RFP and PPA processes. Regulatory tools to achieve the Commission's public interest mandate of setting tariffs for the provision of electricity service to the public. Members of the public are invited to give their comments by email info@puc.bz or post by 17 July 2021. The draft bylaw may be viewed in its entirety at the offices of the Commission at 41 Gabriel Lane, Belize City, or on the PUC website at www.puc.bz.
Belize is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Belize near you and get 19 to 25% off selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Belize.
Belize, Belize, oh, Belize, Belize.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is pleased to announce the opening of Phase 4 of our vaccination plan. In the first 70 days, we have done a total of 95,452 vaccinations. 75,123 persons have received a first dose, while 20,329 have been fully vaccinated. We have vaccinated more than 90% of our healthcare workers and 59.4% of adults 60 years and older with a first dose. We are presently at 59.9% of teachers and 20.7% of the police force. Persons who are included in phases 1, 2, and 3 are encouraged to continue to come out and get vaccinated. We are now inviting all other public officers and transport workers who are both in the public and private sector who are in phase 4 to visit the nearest Ministry of Health and Wellness health facility. A vaccinated person brings us closer to stopping the COVID-19 pandemic. When it is your turn, go and get vaccinated. Love them, protect them, vaccinate them. Be COVID-19 safe. Get vaccinated, Belize.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize with funding from the Engender and Spotlight projects.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
Minister of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries Karim Musa says his ministry is doing a lot to crack down on reports of police brutality. Minister Musa says he personally reviews many of those allegations, often captured in videos, and where necessary, he follows up to ensure action is taken. But even with measures in place at the Professional Standards Branch, Minister Musa concedes that reports of police brutality persist. Here is what he told the hosts of the Open Your Eyes morning show about what his ministry is doing to address the issue.
It continues today, and I have to say that I get a lot of footages. People feel as though once they take a video of police officers interacting with them, that automatically it becomes an instance of abuse, and that is not the case. I have to tell you, because I stand for that on principle against police brutality, a lot of citizens forward videos to me, and not all of them are police brutality, but in fact police officers just doing their jobs. So what you find is when police officers come into a particular area to do a search, there is sort of a mob gathering of people coming around and all of them filming what the police officers are doing. It makes it very, very difficult for officers to do their jobs. And so it's not every instance that amounts to abuse and brutality, but those that do, we have a very strict policy in our police department now. I meet regularly with the head of professional standards branch to get a report of all of the officers who have violated citizens in the country and who we have taken action against. So there is that accountability and that transparency and that regular engagement with professional standards branch.
According to Minister Musa, discussions are being held with the Commissioner of Police to implement the use of body cameras for police officers. Musa argues that these cams would give a truer picture of what transpired in any given situation. Intervention has been one of the long-standing approaches used to tackle gang violence, particularly in Southside Belize City. And while the approach offers relief from violence to these communities, that relief is often temporary. For a more permanent solution to this plaguing issue, Minister Musa argues that the issue of poverty among the most valuable must be addressed, vulnerable that is, must be addressed. One step being taken by the Ministry of Education is the issuance of 40 scholarships to young men and women who have reached a phase in their life where they are most likely to be recruited by a gang.
Having interventions is short term because, like you rightly said, you're just bringing them together. Something could flare up very easily within these gangs and result again in another spike in crime and another spike of killing. But that is not your end goal, you know. Your end goal should be to create opportunities to get our young men in school all the way through to high school, to graduate sixth form. That should be the end goal. If they're not good in academics, then get them in the skills training program. And that is why it's, again, a holistic approach. A lot of times we tend to blame the police department for crime. But at the end of the day, you have to look at the Ministry of Human Development, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Ministry of Education. What are these different ministries doing in order to take our young people out of poverty so that they don't turn to a life of crime? We've had discussions already with various ministries, starting with the Ministry of Education. The Honorable Francis Fonseca saw that there was this need for scholarship opportunities within these marginalized communities, and he came out and indicated to me right away, I have 40 scholarships I want to offer to these communities. Could you identify the young men, like you said, that are just right there at this cusp of being recruited by these gangs, but certainly want to live a better life? Let's offer them that opportunity. And so we have located these individuals. There are lots more that we would want to offer these scholarships, but certainly it is a good start.
Since the decriminalization of the possession of up to 10 grams of marijuana, no further legislation has been passed for its sale and purchase. So while it is legal to use no more than 10 grams in the privacy of one's home, the trade of marijuana remains illegal in Belize. Due to pushback, mainly from religious organizations, the legislation has been slow in coming. Minister Musa says he sees how legislating and taxing the trade can benefit the government of Belize.
It makes absolutely no sense where we are. And so I do fully understand the concern that is being raised by the churches, but at the same time, we have to recognize that that particular fight was in 2017 when it became available for recreational use. And so there's a lot of discussion over medicinal versus recreational, but we have already jumped that hurdle. We're already at legal recreational in our country. It's just that we don't have any means of purchasing it. And again, this is just to benefit Mexico and the United States, because that is where all the marijuana is coming from. It's not coming from Belize. And so I don't think that we're going to see a surge in use in terms of marijuana. The people that are currently using marijuana will continue to do so, but at the same time, we can see where the government can benefit from it as opposed to sending all our money internationally.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video. at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.